I don't mind super much if this is code that is written 20 years ago and looks the way that ABAP code did look 20 years
Yeah.
ago. Like if there's testing, if there's unit tests, then I can start messing around and putting the code into classes, being sure that the code still works the way that it's intended, right?
I'm hearing unit tests a lot, and I know that's sometimes an unpopular concept because people have this, I think, misconception that adding unit tests only increases your software development costs. And this kind of leads into a great case study because I think for whatever reason within the ABAP community, I feel like there's still a lot of resistance in unit testing, but I think we have a great use case with abapGit.
Yeah, so I think abapGit itself has evolved over the years. Back in the beginning, there was nothing, and abapGit came into the world without any unit tests because I, as a developer, I kept using it and clicking all the buttons all the time, right? But over time, it grew bigger and more complex, right? And more different developers helping out with different parts of the project. So slowly but surely, we are adding more unit tests over time, making it hopefully more stable for everyone and easier to actually change. So if there's a new developer making a pull request with some changes, it will automatically kick off the unit tests and the developer will see, oh, this specific test case scenario is broken or everything works as supposed to.
Yeah, and we've talked a little bit about the history and the community of abapGit in previous videos, but I think as it relates to unit tests, it's such an important concept because anyone, it's open source, anyone can go in there, to your point, add a feature, fix a bug, and get that feedback. Well over 100 community developers contributing to this software that is free, and it's an incredibly powerful tool.
I think unit test gives you the feedback that your software works, and this is also a place where Nuba can help with systems and keeping track which unit tests actually worked yesterday. So ideally, when you create a unit test, then you see that, okay, now it works, everything is green. But I think in the other worlds, then unit tests have a tendency to degrade over time because there was a developer that forgot to run the unit test and then it broke, and the next developer didn't run something over here and then kind of starts breaking apart. But setting up continuous integration, getting the feedback on every commit and enforcing everyone to actually keep the main line green will make sure that all the unit tests keeps running and working at any point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so kind of along the lines of debt, on the other hand, unit tests are perceived as a more expensive alternative, but it really isn't because most companies, most development teams don't even understand the real cost of a change. And so by adding these unit tests, you quickly get the rewards of having those unit tests to your point. If you can enforce these quality checks through CI pipelines, you get that quick feedback and you know that you're not breaking things. Otherwise, you get this back and forth, or often the development that you do doesn't even solve the problem that it should, or it breaks pre-existing functionality.
Yeah, I think it always adds value. Back in the days when I was young and didn't know about our unit testing framework, I also actually did testing, and I assume all developers do testing of their programs before handing it off to the next step. But with unit tests, you actually get the tests into the code, into versioning, and it's very easy to execute those tests, and execute it exactly the same way multiple times instead of me having to repeat all my manual steps over and over again. Because sometimes I'm lazy and say, I'm pretty sure that the manual test case that I did 2 days ago still works.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great point because over time, some companies have been SAP systems for decades. Your functionality is only increasing. And so it's not sustainable to manually test every change in the history of that program. However, if you programmatically do it through ABAP unit, then it's not a problem. The computer will run it in a few seconds and provide that feedback that you need.